She is in the house.
Kat Koppett is one of the most veteran people in our... She was the first person I learned anything from about improv.
She was the first Night Improv book that I read.
She has the most amazing book.
The most amazing book.
Kat Koppett!
Kat Koppett!
So 2 things about this. This is how long I've been doing this. When I wrote that book about improv, the publisher made me title it Training to Imagine, because he said you can't put improv in the title of a book because nobody wants to know anything about improv. Applied improv is too silly. You can't do that. And the other thing was that young lady who you met last night, sitting right there, Leah, who is now 13 years old, was an embryo in my tummy at our first conference before it was even AIN. Yeah, isn't that amazing? All right, so we are both very happy to be here. Yeah. So listen up, folks. When we talk to people about what we do, my husband, Michael Burns, and I, whether it's people who've come to see our shows or our clients or people that we're just hanging out with, a fair percentage of them give us this kind of reaction. Oh, I could never do that. That sounds terrifying. Do you ever get that reaction?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And most of them are dead wrong about that. Right? And they're wrong because they actually have exactly the opposite assumption about what makes a great improviser, right? They assume that what makes a great improviser is that they are wacky and an exhibitionist and really clever. And not that you're not really clever, honey. You are. And super, super knowledgeable and know everything that there is to know about everything. When what we know is that what makes a great improviser, the really, really brilliant ones, really, really brilliant, is that they are exceptional receivers of information. That they are really super listeners who are great at putting their attention on other people, on their partners, and receiving extremely generously. So what our clients who are our clients know is that this is also true for great leaders and great teams and really great organizations as a whole, that what is going to make them great is their ability to receive information and use it. And what they've also started to figure out is that although a lot of people pay lip service to this idea of listening and receiving as being really important, that improvisers and the world of improv has something very special to offer in this regard, which is we don't just talk about listening, but we figured out how to build and exercise those muscles. And in fact, improv is the gym for listening and receiving, and a lot of other things. So what I want to talk to you about in the next 7 minutes or so is what are those listening muscles that we talk about, specifically the who, or the what, the who, and the how of listening. So let's start with the what. A few days ago, I had a conversation with a client that is not atypical. It was the morning before a session that I was about to do, and it went something like this. Kat, I just found out that my boss's boss's boss, the CEO of the whole company, is planning to stop by the session you're going to do at about 11:10, and I've looked at the agenda, and that's right when you're going to do that mirror thing where people are going to be moving around and like looking at each other silently, and I think maybe we should redo the whole agenda because she really cares about practical things and she doesn't like this woo-woo thing. Okay, so let's break this down. What was I hearing? Let us start with the data and the facts. What data or facts were you hearing in this story? 11:10. CEO, CEO. Mirror exercise. Woo-woo. Awesome. So there's some data there. And if that were all I had heard, well, there was some other important data. She said, change the agenda. Yes? And had I only heard that data, I might have had some reactions or some choices I was making in this scene and leapt to a response right away, right? But that's not all the offers that there were. That weren't the only pieces of information for me to receive or listen to. So there were also some emotions, right? What were the emotions that you could listen to? Fear, blah, 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 right? Terror, nice, good. Worry, stress, anxiety, yes. Distrust, maybe some distrust, care, right? There's some, she was talking to me about it, right? So there's some maybe emotion of love in there. Oh, good. I'll give her the benefit of that. What about values?
Practical.
She valued practicality. What else did she care about? Hierarchy. She valued status. She valued predictability. She wanted to know what would happen. Doing a good job. Formality. Keeping her job, I heard someone say. Yeah.
No risk.
Playing it safe, no risk. Or at least feeling safe. Yeah? Great. And finally, what do you think her intention was in talking to me about this? She wants to be successful. Maybe she wants the program changed.
She's protecting you.
Maybe she wants to protect me. Maybe she wants me to look good. Maybe she wants to just keep her job. Maybe she needs some reassurance, right? We don't know, but it's a good question to ask, right? Maybe her intention is not just to freak me out, right? Which is a possible conclusion. Great. What do you think happens when I start listening for all four of these things instead of just the data, or even just data and emotion?
You freak out.
I could freak out. I could freak out. It could undermine me. What? I can respond in a different way than just if I'm listening for only one of these things. Right? If I'm just listening for emotion and I'm not actually hearing the data, maybe I just get freaked because she's afraid, as opposed to saying, what's the information that I can use and build with? If I'm just listening for intention, and her intention is to save her job, and I think she doesn't care, then that could get me off track. But if I can listen for all of that together, then look at how many more opportunities I have and how many offers I have to choose what kind of scene I want to build. That's muscle one. Muscle two. Who am I listening to? So, who are you listening to right now?
You.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It would be much less fun if you weren't. And yourselves, tell me more about that. What are you saying to yourself right now?
I'm on next.
I'm on next. I'm guessing that's making it harder to listen to me. I relieve you of that responsibility. These folks are doing that for you. Good. What's some of the rest of you? What are some of the voices in your head saying right now?
Don't shout out, people will judge you.
Don't
shout out, people will judge you.
Don't shout out, people will judge you. What else? I better get this right. She's asking me a question. I hope I get it right.
Am I qualified to be here?
Am I qualified to be here? Yes. Yes, you are. There you go. Very nice. I really need to pee. So some of those voices in our head can be terribly unkind. Saying things like, you're not qualified to be here. Or, my shirt is the wrong color. Right? Sometimes those voices can be lovely and helpful. One of the things that improv helps us do is to quiet the saboteur voices and to awaken and help us listen to those voices that can help us, even as we're listening to the people speaking, to our partner, to help us listen to the voices in our head that are saying, here's an offer you could make, here's a spontaneous impulse that might have been so quiet before that you didn't even notice it, but that's going to allow you to make the choice back because you recognize what's being received and letting you say the next line of the scene. And who else might you be listening to at this moment? Yourself, me, the speaker, and? The voice of your boss. Anybody else who could exist in your context. That's right, your mother, the boss, anyone in the room. That's right. So the whole gestalt. We can hear all of those voices at once. Then we can ask ourselves, what is this complete picture and what does the scene need? Finally, we exercise as improvisers the how muscle. We can listen as foes. I have this great and terrifying opportunity to speak to you all, my colleagues, my mentors, and it would be possible for you to be listening to me right now and sitting as foes, as judges, and say, I'm going to listen to Kat talk about listening. I've been teaching listening for 30 years. Heck, I've been listening for 50. What can she possibly tell me about listening? Or you can show up, as our playback theater colleagues asked us to do yesterday, openly and supportively as friends with the improvisational mindset of yes and, as friends. And that's what I invite you to do, because that's what the world needs. As the theologian David Arsberger says, being heard is so close to being loved that for the average person, they are almost indistinguishable. So listen up, folks. Listening is a superpower, and boy, does the world need it right now. So go out and save the world, folks. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Koppett.